Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you so very much for joining the Life Signatures Radio. This is a daily show where I talk about purpose, productivity, and resilience. We've covered quite a lot of seasons and series in these episodes. In this podcast, over 100 seasons and over 1,500 episodes, actually 1,600 plus episodes, and still going. By the grace of God, we're doing this. Something that I just can't stop doing, and I'm so excited about it. Yesterday was the end of a very long series, and that series is just smack in the middle of what is at the core of my heart. We were talking about raising street smart children. Today we get an opportunity to start talking about something totally different. It might be long, it might be short, but that's okay. We're going to be asking this question: what is the purpose of living? What is the purpose of living in these episodes? And so let us just answer that question even as we go forward. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So I must admit that we need some English teacher in this one initially, because if you replace the word of with the word for, question, might that change the meaning of the question? So the question will be, what is the purpose of living? Or the question might be, what is the purpose for living? That is interesting. I don't know which one it is that you will look at. Well, let us start by painting a story, an imaginary story of somebody. This guy, he sits down, sighs heavily, closes his eyes, and lets out a deep breath. And the sun-scorched weather probably has had a number on him. He's sweating, he's tired. His toil has yielded something, not necessarily something substantial, but it has yielded something. It will not be enough to fend off the pangs of hunger for his family, and maybe not enough for him to take some kind of adventure. It is a little bit, just not even just enough. It's just less than just enough. That's what he's gotten from his toil, his yield. It's a good start, you can say. But his major purpose that day, his very reason for existing that day, is to fend for his family, is to put food on the table, that his young 5-year-old daughter can smile, that smile that just warms his heart. And he looks at her longingly, and he wants to do much more for her. Sometimes he is scared. She's growing up so fast. She's supposed to be in school. Soon enough, she'll be having very many of her needs. And I don't want vultures to circle around her and just take advantage of her. And he looks at what his toil is all about, and he feels a little bit discouraged, weary, uncertain. kind of like just about a failure. And he starts pondering on how life could have been if he took his quote-unquote studies seriously. He just has gotta get up every single day and push on. So a person like this one, you ask yourself, what is his purpose for living? What is his purpose of living? He has got to get up from this heaven that he is resting now, this recuperation. He's got to get up from it and push himself once again, or else he will just slip like his friends who ran away from their families and their responsibilities, and now they are entangled with booze and drugs, kind of like trying to use those to offset the heavy responsibilities that are upon him. And this is not lost to this guy, that if he is not careful, if he just slips a little, if he just lets slip, because his mind is being bombarded by that possibility, that temptation, that possibility of just going on a tangent. Just let me sniff a little, and let me just have this relief from the toil of the day, because life is hard. Life is hard. And sometimes he closes his eyes and thinks, maybe if I was not just a thought, if I wasn't even existing, why did I exist in the first place? He has to get up anyway. And this is the handcart pusher. Talked about this guy in the previous series. The handcart pusher is a statistic, just one statistic, but he's representing very many people in very many niches across the world. He's not the only one who has these kinds of thoughts. And sometimes I really wonder when I look at people in the streets begging or toiling, and I look at their faces, how screwed their faces are, and how there is a lot of pain and concern and fear, and sometimes regret, and just lost, but they have got to be alive. And I wonder sometimes, God, why are people given life? What is it with being alive? I look at people suffering. I look at humanity trudging. A fraction of humanity, you might say. Well, you might think that it's only the ones who are pushing handcarts. But like I said in the previous series, there are those ones in ties and in Ranger Rovers. And sometimes they just come to that level and they ask themselves, what in the world am I doing? What's the purpose of this all? Invariably, we've seen very many guys jump off a cliff, jump in front of a train, kill themselves. And they are rich. In the consideration of the handcart pusher, that guy had it all, but he killed himself. So you come to ask this question, what in the world? I mean, there's a guy called Job in the Bible who asked those questions. Why is life given to a guy who is in trouble? Why is life given? Why is he given breath? Is this Job asks, is this a mockery? Is God mocking me? Are you mocking me, God, to be alive in this place, to face all these situations that I'm facing in my life, day in and day out? Why should life be given to me? So the handcart pusher, he gets up after counting his meager earnings. His thoughts are trained on the next assignment of hard labor. There is no let-off for him. His purpose for that day, to feed his family and provide for his 5-year-old daughter, that purpose is still alive. And all over the world, multiplied billions of people have a routine such as this man. We wake up in the morning like clockwork to go to our routines. The only difference is a variation in degrees of difficulty. Handicap pusher on one end, accountant on the other. Business developer on one end, motivational speaker on the other. Politician, president, entrepreneur, social worker, all the other titles that you might want to mention. It seems that all these do not have a different purpose from that of the handcart pusher, which is to fend for the day and provide for their daughters and sons and their wives and girlfriends. And the question that we ought to answer is this, even as we start this mini-series, short and crisp. Is that all there is to life? Is that the purpose of our existence? Is that the purpose for our existence? You see, that question can be asked at different levels. But the greatest place that question is asked is from the longing of growth, the longing of contribution and fulfillment. Now that is a purpose beyond any purpose, transcending all job titles. When you answer that question from the longing of growth and contribution and fulfillment. When Job was asking those questions, he was asking from the level of suffering beyond measure. Actually, that's why I asked initially, we need an English person here. Should the question be, what is the purpose for living? Or what is the purpose of living? I don't know what question it is that you're asking yourself, but that question is valid to every human being. Why are you and I alive? That's the question that I want to leave with you to start pondering about, even as we continue with these episodes. Tomorrow we start going deeper. Until then, bye-bye.